May God's peace and blessings be upon us all. The time has come for the people of God to speak to the people of God. God's holy word is a biblical perspective on the times and events of today. And as always, we come to you to educate you, to entertain you, and to evangelize you. Well, we're on a mission to make America righteous and a mission to make the world righteous. Which is why I ask that you like, share, and subscribe because if you share the know, then the show will grow. And if you share the know, then the word will go. And as we begin on tonight, we're going to cover various topics. And the first I would like to discuss would be the need for Africa to stand up. I feel as though it is time that Africa needs to truly arise and to be who they truly are. Because we live in a time when the Sahel nation in Africa, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, where they have kicked the French out of their country. And that is an excellent thing for them to do because they're finally attempting to establish their own true freedom. But then on the backside of that, they turn around and they seem to invite Elon Musk back into these countries because apparently many of these African nations they lack the stability to have a Wi-Fi connection. So they lack internet. So they lack the foundation for it, which kind of makes you wonder that, considering the fact that we are in 2025, that at some point in time they should have been preparing to have all of these things in this foundation set up so that they will be able to have communication. So they lack the foundation for any of that type of thing. And so they have no Wi Fi, they have no internet, they are incommunicado if anything was to happen. And Africa, above all, needs to follow the example of South Africa. Because I think South Africa has it right. Because whenever these companies, these major companies, the Amazons, the Apples, the Elon Musk of the world attempt to come into their country and do business, I feel as though the Africans should follow the example of South Africa and charge them 30%. Charge them 30% of what they're making to do business in your country. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, considering the fact that, we know the original task of imperialism, the original windfalls of colonization. And so, if you're going to expel these people, if they want to come back and do business with you, it's not because they want to, it's because they see the money and the value in doing business with you. And to a certain degree, they have to do business with you. And as a result, that means that you have the advantage. So you should make them compensate you correctly, or as the Jamaicans say, to come with a proper team. Make sure that the money is good. You have the power, Africa. And so I say to you that it is pretty much time for that continent to stand up. They should unite as just one big country in all actuality and bring all of their resources together. Because you see, there's one thing that I feel as though the African continent needs to remember is that there is a need for them to stop fighting amongst themselves. There is a need for each individual leader of the country, for those that are corrupt, for them to desire to yield to the needs of the people as opposed to enriching themselves while allowing the people to suffer. And so I feel as though they need to unite. They need to come together. They need to solve their problems as a continent on the whole. Because I'm pretty sure more like minds agree than disagree. And if Africa handles their own problems internally, then they will not have to allow these ex colonizers and ex imperialists to come in and profit from the suffering that goes on in these countries. Make no mistake about it. The resources that Africa has are needed by the entire world. And if they were to turn around and centralize those resources, centralize that country, centralize that government, centralize their form of cash payment, then they would truly be a major player in this game. But you see, anytime it seems as though Africa has a problem, They have a innate desire to run back to the people who put them in the situation that they are in. Because I say to Africa, remind yourselves, who is responsible for the unrest that exists in your countries to this day? Hmm. Who is responsible for the destabilization that exists in these regions today? Who is responsible for the poverty and the suffering that many of these countries are living in today? And what you will find is that the answer to all of those questions is the very same people that are attempting to now come into your countries and do business with you. Because you see, true crooks come with a smile on their face and an outreached hand. Because a true fox does not present himself as a fox. I'm just saying. And now on to our next topic because it is another show favorite that is guaranteed to bring attention as well as education to the situation. Let us speak of Charleston White. Charleston White, to me, he is the perfect example of the art of the grift. The art of the grift, which you will find is going to be another one of my coined phrases along with that distraction politics. The art of the grift and distraction politics. The art of the grift, because make no mistake about it, Charleston White came out as who he truly was in the beginning. The guy with the glasses and the button up shirt and all of those things. And he said that the world paid him no attention. So as a result, he had to go into character, right? And become whoever he saw that the world was paying attention to. And so he comes out initially as a child protector. He speaks up for the children. He's a child activist. He comes out as a grieving mother consoler. He comes out as a motivational speaker. He comes out initially as a guy who works to get bills passed to help inner city youth or inner city children or or children who are in a lower poverty level. He did all of those things in the beginning. And now that man, that motivational speaker, that guy who loves the kids, that guy who loves the grieving mothers, the guy who hates rappers who kill people, that guy right there. Now he has turned gangster because you see what happened was Charleston White realized the way to get paid and he capitalized on it royally. Cannot be upset with the situation. You cannot be upset with the fact that he told you who he was from the beginning. There is no anger in that. But I have to say that him turning from the guy with the glasses on to who he is today, that is truly a major metamorphosis. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get the money. So Charleston White gets bammed. And for all of you that may be a little lost, that means he got locked up. He got arrested. He got jammed. No problem. Charleston White catches a couple of old felonies from the past that pop back up on him. Hey, no problem. Charleston White catches possibly a couple of new felonies. Hey, no problem. And then Charleston White gets released with all charges dropped. And still, I say no problem. Because you see, you cannot hate people whether you hate them or like them or love them or whatever situation you may find yourself in as far as how you feel about a person. I would never wish for anyone to be incarcerated, not even my worst enemy. And that is just the truth. But my question for Charleston White is, through all of that, I sit back and I watch him now. He does conversations about things that are happening in the culture, as well as, he'll argue with rappers or argue with anybody who's in the news so that he can get his clicks and his likes. Uh, he'll do whatever he has to do to get paid. He'll get rappers locked up. He'll do 20v1s. He'll do, whatever they paying for. Charleston White's down to do it. But my question at the end of the day is, Mr. White, where them kids at? Mr. White, what happened to the kids? Was it all a facade? You just dropped them kids, so where the kids at? Do you still care about the kids? Are you still acting for the kids? Where them grieving mothers at? You don't care nothing about them women. Do you still keep in contact with those grieving mothers? Where are they at? Do you care anything about all of that stuff that you did previous to getting some money? Because now it appears as though now that you've gotten paid, all of those things have fled away, or more or less been pushed to the side to allow you to be who you really desire to be. And so you see, that is, as I was describing, the art of the grift. Game recognized. And now let us move to another topic, another pressing situation. I think perhaps for me personally, the most pressing one of this entire video today. For now, I must discuss one of our own, the shamelessness of Bishop Marvin Sapp. There comes a time when you try to give people benefit of the doubt, and you may be a fan of some of the music that they made, but it comes a time where you have to say to yourself that when people tell you who they are, then you must be inclined to believe them because they truly know themselves better than anyone. And so I say to Bishop Marvin Sapp, you got to do better. The first scenario I saw was when he said that he had no problem with secular artists using his music, using his gospel music to make secular music. He said he had no problem with it because it put his kids through college. I had a problem with that. Sounds like what the Bible describes as filthy lucre. And it seems as though being a bishop, you should stand for more than just a little money in the account to help pay your kids' tuition. I understand the kids' tuition, but the music is not your source. God is your source. And then the second thing he did that quite bothered me was I saw him as he sat in his own church with his hand covering his mouth and part of his face as he sat there and allowed Jamal Bryant, the heretic, to sit there and say that 80% of Jesus' life he was out of order. And Marvin Sapp sat there in his own church and allowed that foolishness to go forward. And he did not do anything to correct it. He did not do anything to stop it. He allowed it to go on to his very face. The third thing he did that kind of just, you know, put it all as effect as they say in essence for me. There are many more things, but just wanted to give you three of the things that he did where you just said, hey, this brother's still in the world. He said he was releasing an R&B song for Valentine's Day. And he was asking for a $300,000 donation, a $40,000 seed. Mr. Marvin, Mr. Sapp, Mr. Shameless Sapp, have you no shame? Because for you to know that you never would have made it without God, and for you to be currently doing the things, the actions, the activities, the things that you are now doing, it kind of makes us just question. So I say to you from a realistic side of the world, what part of the game is this? And as always, it is my pleasure to give you another verse for another day on this earth. And our scripture for today will be coming from Romans chapter 2, verse 18 through 23. Romans at chapter 2. We'll start at 18. I think we'll go to what, 22, maybe 23. At verse 18, and it reads on this wise: And knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and art confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which hast the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, dost thou steal? Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonorest thou God. Amen. So I say to you that as a bishop or as a preacher or any form of teacher, you have to be able and capable to not only talk the talk, but to also walk the walk, because your people look to you as a physical, living example. And that is a duty, a responsibility that should not be taken lightly. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. May God bless you and keep you.